And now I really appreciate the opportunity to bring on an extraordinary gentleman, somebody who I've known for quite a few years, a man who has been on our stage numerous times, and he kills it every single time. And the reason is because he's so authentic. His material is so pure. His ethics are so magnificent. And the love in his heart is so strong that he cannot help but give you something extraordinary. Please help me welcome to the stage Dr. Richard Flint.
Hey, sit. I got an hour. Sit. I got to ask you, do you like my dentist shoes? Last year I was walking through the first part of this year. I was walking through the Charlotte airport, and this little lady was boogieing in front of me. And all of a sudden, for no reason, she just stopped. And I couldn't stop because I was too close to her. So I ran into her, and I broke my little toe on my left foot. And the doctor said, hey, we can put a cast on it, but it has to go up to your knee. And he said, Art, it'll just heal itself. But he said, you can't wear dress shoes. So there's a company out there called Fit to Run. And I have become their biggest customer, because I have gone and bought tennis shoes to almost go with everything that I wear. I am excited about being with you today and to having this time with you. I got today and tomorrow with you. And today is going to be a very, very personal conversation between you and I. And then tomorrow we're going to work on the business side of you. And what I want to do today is I want to talk to you about one of the two most profound questions in life. The most profound question in life is, who are you? I mean, you ever had somebody ask you that question? And isn't it amazing? The answers we give are very, very limited answers. Because most people define themselves from where they are, not who they are. And this, to me, the second most profound question in life is this. Where's your life taking you? I was in Dayton, Ohio before I came here with two of my mentoring students, a couple I'm working with. And we got to talking about life. And I asked Greg the question, where's your life taking you? He said, you know what, Richard, I think about that question a lot, but I'm so trapped in my moment that I really don't have time to think about that. So my response to him was back, then how do you know where you're going? Because I think too many of us get up every day and live the day in front of us without really understanding the meaning of the time that day brings to our life. So I want to put a thought in front of you. Your life is never standing still. Do you agree with that? You ever had somebody tell you, well Richard, my life is at a standstill. Your life is never at a standstill. Your life is never standing still. Reality is it's always taking you somewhere. Now, with that, it creates a question. Is it taking you in the direction you talk about wanting to go? You see, for so many times I talk to people about what is the ultimate for your life? What is it you really, really, really want to achieve? And in their head, they have a sketch. But that sketch means nothing if you don't have a process to get you there. It's my challenge with people writing goals. I think what most people call a goal is actually a hallucination. I mean, you ever written a goal for your life and sat there and looked at it and thought, what do I do with this? Because most of us write goals because we've been taught that people need goals. I'm going to tell you something. You don't need a goal. You need a dream. And the difference between a dream and a goal is a statement you write. A dream is giving your mind freedom to play. And so many times what we do, we write a goal and then we're lost in it. But in a dream, I have a direction, I have reality, I have energy. I allow myself to play. And the meaning to my life becomes stronger. So the question is your life taking you in the direction you talk about wanting to go? The truth is, you're always moving in a direction. Now, hear me say this. There are only two directions for a human life to go. In circles or forward. It is humanly impossible to go back. Now, you can visit yesterday in your mind, but you can't go back there. And if I visit yesterday in my mind, what am I doing? I'm going in circles. And so my choice is either go in circles or go forward. You give me 10 people, and I don't care who they are, give me 10 people, and 8 of those people will be living in circles talking about going forward. So, you're always moving in a direction. But is the direction you're going the direction that will take you forward? And isn't that a question for every aspect of your life? You ever seen a marriage that gets trapped in circles? And do you think that can create a form of disconnect? You ever seen a practice that's good at talking about what the practice is going to do, but when you study the practice, it's going in circles? I mean, y'all ever had a staff meeting where you rehash what you've already talked about? There's no forward in that, correct? So to set you up for what I want to talk to you about, I want to put some terms in front of you, and these terms are out of volume 1 of my dictionaries. And I want to put the terms in front of you, and I want to give you my definitions, because my definitions are critical for you to understand. And always remember, the definition I give you is based on the second word in the definition. The term direction. Look at the definition. The path. Because we all have a path. And that path is either going to take us in circles or take us forward. Only two directions the path can go. The path, your choices, because everything in life is a choice. You ever had somebody look at you and go, I didn't mean to do that? That's a lie. If they hadn't meant to do it, they wouldn't have done it. Everything in life is a choice. The path your choices have created. Because when you step into the path and you make the choice to be there, now what happens? You've created a direction for your life. You ever had a time in your life where the direction you found yourself on was not the direction you wanted? But how challenging is it to get off of that direction, off of that path once you've gotten there? First, you got to be accountable for your behavior. Second, you got to realize the exit is not easy to find. And third, you got to want something so much better that you'll pay the price to get off. Look at my term. Life. The space between the day you were born and the day you die. That's all life is. It's space. The day you're born, you create space. The day you die, that space ends. And all life is the space between the day you were born and the day you die. But the last part is critical. You get to fill in that space with behavior. Because every time you make a choice, that creates behavior. So every step I take has behavior in it. And so many times what makes life in this space so challenging is that we say one thing, but then the step we take takes us in an opposite direction. And if you remember last year, if you were here, I gave you my 3 little words out of the most profound statement I've ever made. Behavior never lies. And that the essence of truth is never what you say. It's what you do. So life is simply the space between the day you were born and the day you die. And you, no one else, you get to fill in that space with your behavior. No one else can fill that space for you. Now look at my third word. Lost. You ever had a time in your life where you felt lost? Knowing there is more for your life, but allowing fear to override your desire. Do you think fear is one of the most powerful enemies you face every day of your life? And isn't it interesting? Because fear, like any emotion, has a positive and a negative. And the positive side of fear is given to you to slow down. And when I slow down because I'm unsure what happens, I'm feeding my desire. But fear for most people is a negative because in fear we speed up. You ever told somebody this? I just want to get through this event. I don't have time for this in my life. And what are we doing? We are reacting because of an emotion called fear. And when you and I are lost, we know inside of us. Do you know that I've never sat in a counseling room with any human who didn't know the answer to the question they were presenting to me? They just don't want to hear themselves say it. Because true or false, once you say it, you're now accountable for it. And everybody wanted me to tell them what to do the day the lady was in my office, and it was my third visit with her. And in the middle of our conversation, she screamed at me, "I don't like you." And she was out of her chair immediately, on top of my desk on her hands and knees. Now, in all my grad studies, never had hands and knees 101. And I didn't know what to do because she was on her hands and knees looking at me and going, "I don't like you, I don't like you." So I just got on the top of my desk with her. When she screamed, "I don't like you," I said, "The feeling is mutual." She said, "You won't tell me what to do." I said, "Thank you for noticing that." You ever had a patient try to make you responsible for their health? Huh? And aren't they just looking for a reason to blame somebody? Because every time you give them an answer, you adopt them. And they will remind you of that. Well, you told me if I did this, I would get better. So what happens? There's no accountability on their part. And when a human is lost, they know there's something more for their life. But then what happens? They come to one of the biggest wars in life. Fear, which plays in the what-if world, and desire, which is a part of I can world. And in the average person, which one do you think wins the most? What if or I can? What if? If I came to your life, would I find you playing any what if right now? Would I find in a conversation that you know what you need to do in your life, not your practice, in your life? You know exactly what you need to do to improve. But because fear is stronger than desire, you play the what-if game. And the what-if game is a game you can't win. Because learn this. You can't answer a what-if question. Look at my word. Trapped. Do you know how many people live here? And what is it? It's walking the same path today you walked yesterday and the day before and the day before. It's Groundhog Day. You know how many times I have people talk to me, I want my life to improve, and they go back and do the same thing? You know how many people like you come to a conference like this, you hear information, and man, you think that's exactly what I needed to hear, and you walk out of here, and you go home back to the same world you walked out of. Do you think that ever happens? Huh? You know how many times I've heard this? Well, I didn't have time to implement it. lie. You just didn't make the choice to do it. Life is not about having the time. Life is about making the choice. Because people use time as an excuse. But yet, if you really want to do something, you find the time. So all being trapped is walking the same path I've said I don't enjoy, walking the same path I said frustrates me, walking the same path that you talk about not wanting to walk and doing it over and over and over again, and you're trapped. And you hear me say this. Being trapped means your emotions are stronger than your creativity. Time. The moments of life you choose to either waste, abuse, spend, or invest. You can only do 4 things with time. You can waste it. You ever wasted a day of your life? And by the way, you gave yourself permission to do it, didn't you? You ever abused a day of your life? And you gave yourself permission to do it. You ever just spent a day of your life getting ready, and by the time you got ready, the day was over? So what do you tell yourself? I'll do this tomorrow. And how many times is tomorrow complicated before you get there because of everything you didn't do with today? Or you can invest it. The least thing that people do with time is invest it. One more word, please. Purpose. This is one of the 5 most important words in life. Purpose. The reason you do what you do. Would you agree with me there's a purpose to everything you do? And have you ever gone against your own self, telling yourself, you shouldn't do this? Do you think there are people who are committed to sabotaging their own life? You think there are people committed to living a dysfunctional life? Do you think there's ever a doctor whose behavior is designed to destroy their practice? You know how many times I've heard this? Well, Richard, I don't know how this happened. And I look at him and go, are you really that stupid? You know exactly how it happened because it was all your choice. So look at this. Your purpose is defined by certain things. Plan you put in place. Now, if you can agree with me that nothing in life is by accident, you understand something. Everything you do with your life has a plan. Now, I may not share that plan with you. I may drag you into my hidden agenda. But everything I do has a plan to it, defined by understandings you have agreed to. I know what this is going to do, but you know what? I understand what I'm about to do, but I'm going to do it. Because I don't think you can plead ignorance in life. I think ignorance is a way of blaming someone or something on the choice you've made. Reaching for that something you desire. See, I think there's a carrot out in front of every one of us. I think deep down inside of you, there is something that you want. And the purpose of your life, even though I may never share it with you, the purpose of my life is to take me to that something. I have a company that I'm working with in Minneapolis, and I ran around the other day to their top leadership. And I asked these 15 guys, each an individual question. Are you doing with your life what you really want to do? Out of the 15, 13 told me no. So if you and I sat 1-to-1 and I asked you, is what you're doing with your life what you really, really want to do with your life? Would it be yes or no? If I asked you the question, are you in your life where you want to be? Would the question be yes or no? Because every day we reach for that something. Position yourself to get what you want. Do you think people ever use other people? You ever been on the end of being used? You ever had somebody use you to get what they want, and then when they got it, they just walked away? Purpose. Objective defined. What are you really after? What is it you're really after in your life? Purpose. Stating through behavior the real you. Behavior never lies. Purpose. Establishing the behaviors you're acting out. Purpose. Go back to the definition. Purpose. The reason you do what you do. And you all have a reason. Every one of you has a reason for the behavior you implement. So, no action in your life is by accident. I don't think there's anything spontaneous in life, because I think everything in life takes thought. So, no action in your life is by accident. Why? Because all behavior has an agenda. Every aspect of you, everything you do has an agenda to it. Now, how honest do you have to be with yourself to admit your agenda? You think in relationships sometimes that one person needs the other person, so their agenda is to have that person fill their needs? And as long as they filled their needs, they're happy with them. But the minute they no longer fill that need, now they don't need them because they're disappointed with them. Do you think a doctor can ever use their staff? Do you think a doctor in their own way can ever be abusive to a staff? Interesting. So here's a frightening thought. As talented as you are, when you allow fear, it should be the word "to" in there, fear to control the choices of your life, you will live each day having reasons why you're not going forward. If I came and sat in your face, and you and I were face to face in a conversation, and I challenged what you said, by defining what you said through your behavior, could that be an interesting conversation? So I come back to you. Where are you going with your life? Are you going in circles, not happy with it, but acceptant of it? Because if I get out of the circle, it means I got to face myself, and I don't want to be accountable. Or are you going forward because you're willing to face your life? Understand where you are in relationship to where you could be. So, here's my gift to you. And I've had a real challenge with this presentation because this is 3 hours of material, and I told Jeremy I'd bring it down to him this morning, and I started downstairs and wasn't happy, so I went back upstairs and reworked it, and then came down. But this is the crux to what I want you to take away from today. 9 steps for taking your life, because it is your life. Now, you can give it to someone else, but it's still your life. 9 steps for taking your life in the right direction. What's the difference between right and wrong direction? The wrong direction always feeds your confusion. The right direction always gives you clarity. And at which point are you stronger, in confusion or clarity? Clarity. So, I don't want to talk to you about the wrong direction. We put so much emphasis sometimes on the wrong, we forget about the right. The more you concentrate on what you're doing wrong, the less sight you have to what you're doing right. If you put your emphasis on what you're doing right, all of a sudden the wrong starts to resolve itself. We got it backwards, folks. So 9 steps. And you can't change the order. Determine who you are. Until you know who you are, you can't go forward only in the same circle you've been traveling. You know, most people don't know who they are. Huh? You ever get confused when you try to figure out your talents? You ever get confused when you try to figure out what gifts do I have? You ever get confused when you try to create a path that you want to travel because you can't travel it if you don't know who you are? See, here's the realization. The answer to this question is not that you're a doctor. Answer to this question is that you're not a spouse. The answer to this question is not that you're a staff member. The answer to this question is that I am an individual given certain gifts and talents by God to develop in order to create a presence that has presence when I'm not present. That's all I want for my life, folks. I want every day to strengthen myself so that I always have a presence that is present when I'm not present. But if you don't know who you are, you can't get there. How do you make this determination who you are? Listen to your inner voice, those internal whispers. You ever have conversations with yourself? You ever had a time when you said, I'm going to do this, and all of a sudden this little voice inside you said, don't do that. And you go, oh, shut up. And that voice says, listen to me. And it creates a war, does it not? It creates a war between the old you that wants you to stay the same and the new you that is screaming to get out. And the new you always whispers to you. The old you doesn't want you to listen. Insist on making it your life. I tell this to people every day. You never lose control of your life, you give it away. Why do we give it away? Because we don't trust ourselves. We don't believe in ourselves. We don't see ourselves as worthy. Do you know that I've even met doctors who didn't believe they deserved success? So they keep coming to program after program and going back into their world of sameness and never doing what they could do to improve their life. Face your fears. Don't avoid them. When you're fearful of something, stop. Face the fear. Why am I afraid? Where's this coming from? Each day, capturing the lessons from the day. I have all of my mentoring students at the end of the day, they have to answer 2 questions. What did I learn today that will improve my life? And then question number 2, was this a day of growth, maintenance, retreat, or self-destruction? Was it a day of growth, maintenance, retreat, or self-destruction? Number 2, invest in who you are. Investing means you stop looking for others to define you and learn the meaning of living from the inside out. The real you is in there. Folks, Master Circle cannot make you successful. All they can do is give you information and insights. That's all they can do. Success is when you start living from the inside out. Because success is improvement. Now, in that journey of improvement, are you going to get knocked down? Absolutely. Is there a whole world of little maggots down there that want you to stay? Absolutely. But every time you get back up, that's success. But you learn this, the longer you stay down, the less of you there is to get up. Investing in you goes back to listening to those inner whispers. Investing in you, insist on personal honesty. You think that's ever challenging? I learned in the counseling room, most people want honesty as long as it's not honest. Sometimes the greatest challenge you have in your life is just being honest with yourself. I can be honest with you all day long because I love you, sister, and I want you to be better. But don't ask me to look in the mirror. Do you know the worst day in life you'll ever live? You get up in the morning, you're having a conversation with yourself in the mirror, and the person in the mirror leaves before you finish the conversation. That's a bad day. Face life through implementing lessons. Improvement is not what I talk about, it's what I implement. Educate yourself as much as possible. See, I think sometimes there is a big void in some of your lives because your education is chiropractic. What about the person who's the chiropractor? If I walk through your library of knowledge, how much would it be chiropractic information and how much it would be personal strengthening material? We think just because we educate ourselves as a chiropractor, we're going to be better. I'm going to tell you, that doesn't guarantee improvement because there's a human who became a chiropractor. The struggle you have in life is not as a chiropractor, it's as a human. But can we put such an emphasis on being a chiropractor, we don't deal with the human side of us, and that's where our messes come from. Step 3. Refuse to give control of your life away. Please, please, please listen to the little statement. Those who want control of your life want control of you. Those who want control of your life want control of you. If you give them that control, you are no longer you. You know how many people I meet who are an actor in someone else's play? Do you think that ever becomes a marriage? Do you think that's ever a definition of what I'm afraid of and what I'm fearful? I'm going to come to you because I'm going to give you the right to define my life. And so what happens? I give my life away. And when you do that, you lose two things. Individuality and uniqueness. You know the number one foundational thought to my life. Why spend my energy being a carbon copy when I'm the original? I don't want to be Dennis. He's too tall. I don't want to be Dr. Hoffman. He has a different set of skills. I want to be comfortable in my own skin, where every day I live as the authentic me. To maintain control of your life, love who you are. Do you love you? Do you like who you are from the inside out? Now, you don't like every aspect of you. But in the biggest part, do you like who you are? You ever looked at your own self and said, I need to hug myself? Because every now and then, you need to hug you and stop waiting for other people to hug you. Because sometimes other people's hugs has a hidden agenda to it. And it's okay to love yourself. And by the way, if you don't love yourself, you don't believe in yourself. If you don't love yourself, you don't trust yourself. If you don't love yourself, you make okay with self-destructive behaviors. Increase your personal trust. How do I do that? I do that by getting to know who I am. I do that by becoming comfortable in my own skin. I do that believing I am a unique person with unique gifts, and I can make a difference when I'm me, not when I'm anybody else. Face your fears. Do you understand that when fear and change have lunch, the meal is resistance? If I came to your life, would I find you resisting anything right now? Knowing what you need to do, and you've had those conversations with yourself, you know exactly what you need to do, but because it involves change, the result is resistance. Eliminate the negative people out of your life. I don't know which one it was you told me, but you said to me yesterday, after your presentation last year, I took some people to lunch and ordered theirs to go. Do you think you can grow with negative people in your life? No. Do you think you can grow and improve without confronting negative behavior? No. And the conversation is simply this: Richard, I need to apologize to you because I've allowed you to bring behaviors to my life that are not what I want. I need to tell you, I'm sorry I've let you do that. But I've got to inform you, no more. No more. Now, that creates a choice for us, does it not? We're either going to learn to walk together or I will walk away. Think that could be a tough conversation? What if it's with a parent? Oh, what if it's with a child? One of my mentoring students in New York City had this conversation with her daughter last week because her daughter was being disrespectful, was treating her mother in an ugly manner, all because Jay had given her permission to do that. Remember what I told you last year? Anything you don't confront, you validate. People aren't in your life because of who they are. They are because you give them permission to be that way. And if you never confront it, it's no longer their issue. Experience life. Don't expect life to just happen. Life is never waiting on you to show up. It is there waiting for you to grab and live your best life possible. Listen, yesterday was a great day in my life, but today is greater. Because every day, what do? I look to grab the things that can bring improvement to my life. I look to connect with people who can challenge me. I look to fill my life with people who support me. And every day I just want one thing. I never want to be the best. I just want to be better and better and better at who I am. And to do that, I got to look at my life and not wait for life to happen. I got to grab it. But how much do you have to trust yourself to grab life? Do you think fear can keep you from grabbing your life? Absolutely. So to experience life, what do you need to do? Look for the lesson in each day. Hey, what made this not just a good day? What made this a great day in my life? Because you can always have a great day if you look for it. And by the way, you can have a bad day if you look for it. It's not the event or the situation, it's your choice. Invest in your mental hunger. How much do you feed your mind information about helping you to get better? I write for 2 hours every single day of my life. I don't write for you, I write for me. And then I get to share with you what I write. I never want to starve my mind. Because when I starve my mind, I lose my imagination. When I lose my imagination, I become strictly an emotional creature, and I'm dangerous. Find your stage. God gave you talents to develop into skills. Where's your stage? Where can you create that presence that has presence when you're not present? Expect good things to happen. Had a guy call me this week saying, Richard, this is going to be a bad day. And I hung up on him. Because I knew his next statement was going to be why it was a bad day. I didn't want to hear it. That's why I don't listen to the news. Do you know you can listen to the news in the morning and have a bad day? That's why I don't hang out with negative people. I can't walk out of their presence without it affecting my day. Number 5, Huge. Complete what you start. You can't get out of yesterday until you complete it. That means slow down, find the lesson, and implement it through correcting your behavior. You don't correct the situation or the event, you correct the behavior. Life is about behavior. To complete, what must I do? Listen with your ears and your eyes. Because you hear more with your eyes than you do your ears. Insist on having all the facts. Don't step forward until you have the facts. Resist opinions. What's an opinion? It's a compilation of thoughts put together that cannot be substantiated. You can't argue with facts, but you can't communicate with an opinionated person. Face your hostage fears. What creates your resistance? And you got it, and you know what it is. It's just fearful to face it sometimes, isn't it? Enter with a clear purpose. I enter every day of my life with the thought, what can I do today that will create that presence that will allow me to have presence when I'm not present? Number 6, take your life at a manageable pace. Pace is the mental and emotional speed that allows you to have the sight to see all that is, which is necessary to make the right choice. Do you think that you can move so fast that you miss the opportunity? You know how many of you I've dealt with who want to grow? And man, you want growth to happen, but growth becomes a negative when you can't manage it. It's not about growth. It's about preparing for improvement. I'm working with a veterinarian out in Phoenix right now. And man, his practice is just growing. He started in a 1,500 square foot building. And have you ever seen a veterinarian clinic where people line up the street waiting to get in to see the doctor? That was his practice. So we walked through it and we designed it. And he's now in a 5,500 square foot practice. People still line up down the street. Why? Because he's good at what he does. Why? Because he treats his clients with respect. Why? Because he has a staff that exemplifies his passion. And this is something you need to realize. If you don't have a staff that exemplifies your passion, they hurt you. And I tell you something, this hotel needs some help with the passion of their people. I was having breakfast this morning and I asked the waiter, because I'd gotten some oatmeal and I was starting to eat, and I asked the waiter if he would fix me some buttered whole wheat toast. He said, it's on the bar over there. And just walked away. I'm sorry, did he create an impression on me? Do you think your staff can create your reputation? Absolutely. Pace is the mental and emotional speed that allows you to have the sight to see all that is which is necessary to make the right choice. So pace looks and defines you from the inside out. Am I in a race, or is this a journey to improve? Involves knowing when to pull the throttle back. When do I need to slow down? Faces the fear that makes you want to speed up. Exit if you know this is the wrong path. Hey, we want to grow and we want to improve, but this choice we've made is not the right choice to get us where we want to go, so let's take a step back. Number 7, increase your sense of adventure. That's a lost word. Did you know that? Did you know that God created you with a sense of adventure? And what's that sense of adventure? It's the quest to know what's next. What happens if you and I get stifled with what is? We lose that sense of adventure. Oh, but we're going to talk about what we're going to do. We just don't have the trust. Do you know what turns the unknown into adventure? The passion to improve. What makes the unknown uncertainty? The fear of making the decision. Adventure is what keeps your imagination looking for the next part of the journey that moves you forward, because we can only go in one of two directions. We go forward or we go in circles. And you want to know an honest statement? You know what you're doing right now. Are you chatting or are you designed? Increasing adventure is about what? Looking for the opportunities. Every day they're there. Investing in inner clarity. What do I need to do to know who I am? What do I need to do to understand where I'm going? I need to slow down and look at me, not other people. I need to focus on me. Finding your niche. You know, the second biggest question I get asked in my life, when are you going to retire? I tell people, you got to have a job to retire. I don't have a job. I have a crusade. And every day I live my life to help people. Every day I want to strengthen people's lives. But I know this, not all of you want to be strengthened. Not all of you want to improve. Because for some of you, you'd have to go to work. Oh, I'd rather just be a chiropractor than to increase my value to my patients. I'd rather just be a chiropractor than really involve myself in helping my staff to grow. You understand, when you live in a world of adventure, you're never satisfied with what is. But you understand, you got to control the journey. Exit if you find this the wrong path. We made a bad decision. We're headed toward confusion. Stop, turn around, let's go. Number 8, big. Opt for the truth. I have a serious question for you. Do you want everyone in your life to always be totally honest with you? Most people don't. Had a guy tell me, Richard, I'd love for you to be my mentor. Man, I'd love for you to work with me. I just got one challenge with you. His word was problem. What's your problem with me? You're too honest. You're going to hold me accountable. And you know how many people don't want to be held accountable? They'd rather blame than be responsible for their own life. Without the truth, there is only the confusion that is the result of you avoiding what you really need to face, and you know what that is. So truth does what? Listens to those inner whispers, insists on gathering all the facts, no games, finds the lessons to build on, because every lesson you bring into your life is a step forward. That step forward opens up a new world of adventure. That new world of adventure opens up your imagination. And when your imagination is open, you don't write goals, you dream. Did you ever see the movie Pretty Woman? 27 times I saw that movie. It was the movie of the month on Delta Airlines flying across the skies. I love the opening line, what's your dream? Do you know how many of you don't have a dream, you have a sketch? And the reason you don't take the sketch forward is because you're fearful of it. Because first of all, you're not sure who you are, and second of all, you have no idea where you want to go. Eliminates the negative. That's the great thing about truth. It eliminates the negative. And then number 9, never stay where you don't belong. Look at the little statement. Freedom is always being where you can be the individual God put you on this earth to be. I have no freedom if you own my life. I have no freedom if you don't accept me as an individual. I have no freedom if I give you control of my life. And how much power is there in being free? How much power is there to be free to dream your dream? To not let other people control you. And how will you know where you're going if you're not free to dream? You can't. So, freedom is about moving on. And what does that mean? It means you learn from where you've been. You've heard me say this before. Yesterday is a reference library, not a room to live in. I can sit in yesterday but not live there. I can revisit to take the strengths out of it, but I must not go back there and stay. You ever had somebody in your life that all they talked about was yesterday? Had this woman that I was working with, And every session we had, she wanted to talk about her dead husband. And everything was about her dead husband. One day I got up and stood right in front of her and got as close as I could to her and looked her right in the eyes and said, "He's dead." When are you going to accept that fact? You know why she lived there? Because she was fearful, because she had no definition without him. Why do most people live in yesterday? Because they have no direction for their life right now. So when we're unsure, uncertain, or fearful, we always go where we felt safe. Most of people, a lot of times, feel safer in yesterday than they do in today because they don't have a plan. Insist on continually improving you. What must I do today to strengthen me? What must I do to be the person God wants me to be? Finds and defines your purpose. Do you know what your purpose is? It's more than being a doctor. Because if all your purpose is to be a doctor, you're very limited in your life. Because that's only one room of your life. What about the rest of your life? Enters at a manageable pace. Do you think some people run through life and at the end have no idea what they've done? These are the people that talk to you about, "I wish I had." You have any idea how many times when I was on the church staff, I sat in a room with a life that was at its end? And how many times they squeezed my arm and talked to me about what they thought they'd missed in life? I don't want to get to the end of my time on this earth and have to go, whoops. Because I want every day to be a day of strengthening who I am through the quality of who I am becoming. And to do that, I got to know where I'm going. And I'm going forward. Not going to be trapped in circles. You ask me, "Richard, when your life is over, what will be your legacy? Of all the things you've written and created, what will your legacy be?" And it's this. It's a program I put together, and probably only 3 times a year I ever bring this out, because most people are not ready for this. But I think a lot of you are. This is almost 8 years of my life in research and putting together what I think it means to have a great life. And what do I have to do, not for anybody else, but for me to achieve personal greatness? There's 4 parts to this. Step 1, the cost of greatness. See, here's the very first step in greatness and in improvement. Are you willing to pay the price to have it? Which means, are you willing to look at your life with honesty? Are you willing to step away from some people? Are you willing to do what you need to do in order to have presence? That's present when you're not present. Step 2, creating the focus. Am I willing to slow down and take a look at where I am, and is it taking me on the path to where I want to go? Step 3, planning the journey. See, and planning the journey is all about, where do I want to be? See, what I find with most people that I work with, they're more interested in how I'm going to get there than they are what it is that I want. And you can't know how you're going to go anywhere if you don't know the want. So when we come to planning, we're talking about, what do you want? And then taking the action. How are you going to get there? Not goals, folks. It's not about writing goals. It's about, what behaviors do I need to improve to get me there? And then the last one is the power, learning to team up. How do I remove people into my life who don't want me to grow and replace them with people who bring me collective genius? Anybody can come through my life, but only a few people get to stay. One of my favorite words in life is the word particular. I am a particular person. I don't want people with drama. I eliminate them. I don't want people who want to own me. I eliminate them. I don't want people who want to control me. I eliminate them. But I bring people to my life who are part of my fan club, who are there to be honest with me, who are there to support me, who are there to help me improve. And that's a very limited number. But together, when we're together, we create collective genius. And when you have that level of person in your life, you have no limits. And then also I tied with this, something that a lot of you have been on, my Morning Minute. How many of you have spent the year with me through the Morning Minute? Would you recommend it to people? This is a very unique program because all I want from you is 1 minute a day, 60 seconds. Guy told me yesterday, man, I love you Morning Minute. I just don't have time for it. So do you understand what you just told me? You don't have 1 minute a day for yourself? My day is overwhelmed. Then go buy a casket and lay down because you're already dead. This is 60 seconds a day in your life. Every morning you turn your computer on. I'm there face to face with you. And I give you one of my philosophies of life and a little bit of wisdom, all in 60 seconds. To set your mind, set your focus for the day. And for 365 days, I'm going to live with you. But I'm never going to tell you what to do. But what I am going to do is I'm going to guide you. Now, my gift to you is this, and I got two gifts. The Daily Minute Workout, the Morning Minute, and the Achieving Greatness series. Investment, $579, but I'm not done yet. I want to give you two gifts. I want to give you a set of my dictionaries that I've released so far. Human behavior, relationships, and leadership. Every one contains 150 words you use every day of your life that you use wrong. And I'm going to give you a modernistic definition that fits into our world today of those three. That's my gift to you with the package. And then a CD that I believe is one of the best I've ever done, The Heart of a Leader. When I go to get a physical, one of the things they do, they put me on a treadmill. And one day I asked the doctor, why am I on this treadmill? He said, I'm checking your heart. It says it's the most valuable organ in your body. This is a heart checkup. Where's your passion level for all aspects of your life? Are you existing in a relationship? Are you existing at work? Or are you really passionate about what you're doing? Because you can't have a difference if you don't have passion. And then I'd like to give an invitation to you to join me August 1, 2, 3 at my summer conference. We do this every year. This will be our 24th Star Maker. And every year we move around the country. Last year we were in Myrtle Beach. This year we're going to be at the Westin La Paloma Resort and Spa in Tucson, Arizona. This is a Category 7 hotel. It's one of the highest levels you could ever be a part of. Our programs are 3 days. And day one, and all of our programs just go from 8:30 to noon. Then we turn you loose to go play because you can't handle more than 3 hours of me. And one day we're going to talk about limitations. Day 2, we're going to talk about boundaries, restrictions. And then day 3, I'm going to give you the 11 steps to personal freedom, where every day of your life, you are designed to be you, not another person. The Westin La Paloma, what a great resort. Everything you'd ever want. And the fact that we only go from 8:30 to noon, there's plenty of time for you to play. We have people use this as a vacation. We have couples that use this as a renewal time because it's a time for you to get back in contact with yourself and others. And by the way, these rooms that we have normally start at somewhere between $350 to $495 a night. We've negotiated a wing of the hotel for $119. Now, we only take 200 people. That's all I want. And the investment is $449 per person for the conference. Now, I'm going to play Let's Make a Deal with you. Here's my offer to you. The series package, which would be Achieving Personal Greatness and the Morning Minute, plus 2 adult Star Maker registrations for $13.79. That's a savings of $227 off of it. I'd love for you to spend 3 days with me. I'd love for you to do it. And all you got to do is, some of you know I have a booth over in the room next door, is you take that little form that was given you, You fill it out. You can either just do the series or you can do both, which would include the Star Maker Conference. There's no tax on it. The price is the price. And I'd love to be able to have a continuation in your life through achieving personal greatness and through the Morning Minute and through you coming to Star Maker. I promise you'll meet people at Star Maker that'll be in your life the rest of your life. They come from all walks of life, from all over the world. I know that we have 17 chiropractors that'll be there this year. And isn't it amazing when you can be around a group of people who are committed to presence? So my last thought. You, no one else in this room, but you were put on this earth to move forward, not stay the same. The only way you will find purpose for your life is to trust yourself enough to seek the adventure that awaits you. Adventure is what keeps you focusing on the terrain and continuing to find the next mountain to climb. So my question is back to you. Where's your life taking you? Isn't that a profound question? It's even more profound to answer it. Food for thought. Tomorrow we're going to talk about business and we're going to talk about leadership tomorrow. And come see me next door, okay? God bless you, folks. Thanks.
Come on, let's hear it for Richard Flint.